Comrade, salute. Hit that like for me. Share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We about to get the show on the road. Hit that like. www.strictlyformynoggers.com. Hey, check this out, time waits for no one. And with that being said, let's go. Shalom. Welcome to the House of Masculinity. I'm Blackjack. Salute to the brother and salute to the sister and salute to the tribe. Y'all hit me up in the chat. Let me know where you at. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel and share the video. If you want to support monetarily, we got a cash app at the top of the screen. cash.app/$ House of Masculinity. We also got the merch on deck. www.strictlyformynoggers.com. Go check us out. I'm sure we got something you'll like. YouTube will not monetize this type of content, of course. Hey, the truth is bitter. And the truth hurts sometimes. Hey, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to always keep it real over here. And tonight, we're talking about the Guale, or the so-called Gullah, Geechie. Salute. Hit me up in the chat if you know about the so-called Gullah, Geechie, or if your family Gullah, Geechie. We're gonna talk about it tonight, and we're gonna set the foundation like we always do over here. We like to do a little read, and we know a book a day keep a dummy away. And we always got our third eye open. We dodging all third eye mind tricks over here. We're gonna talk about the real Guale. It look like we got 3 people watching, but we ain't got but 1 like. Come on now, I know we ain't got no $5 Indians up in here. Y'all hit that like. I know we got the real Noggers in the house. Y'all hit that like for me. We got 2 likes, okay. So let's get it popping. Let's talk the Guale, or the Guale. And I got something I want to read for. We're going to start with this little Wikipedia article. The Guale, right? Pronounced Wale. Like, shout out to Wale. Shout out to Wale the rapper. But we ain't talking Wale the rapper. We talking the Gullah tribe, or the Guale, or the Wale. Like I say, right now we on Wikipedia. So let's get into it. The Guale, or the Wale, was a historic Native American chieftain or Mississippian culture. Salute, keep that in mind. It was a Mississippian chieftain, Native American culture. Mississippians. Shout out to my knockers in the Mississippi, all along the Mississippi River. It was a Native American chieftain, Mississippian culture, peoples located along the coast of present-day Georgia and the Sea Islands. Spanish Florida established its Roman Catholic missionary system in the chiefdom in the late 18th century. The late 1700s, right? They had their missionaries. We just talked about their Spanish missionaries a little while ago, didn't we? I mean, in the late 16th century, excuse me, y'all, the late 1500s. All right, during the late 17th century and early 18th century, the Guale society was shattered by extensive epidemics of new infectious diseases and attacks by other tribes. Some of the surviving remnants migrated to the mission areas of Spanish Florida, and that's where they got set up for slavery, right? While others remained near the Georgia coast. Joining with other survivors, they became known as the Yamassee, an ethnically mixed group that emerged in a process of ethnogenesis. Now they say ethnically mixed, they mean tribes. We talking all Noggers though. They mean when they say ethnically mixed, they mean tribes, different tribes of Indians, different tribes of Noggers. But they formed the Yamassee, right? The Guale. So we know what the Yamassee looked like. We saw the depiction of the Yamassee War. We saw those Negroes. As a matter of fact, Let's go ahead and type that up right now for reference. Let's go ahead and pull that right now. The Dutch view of the Yamassee War, just for reference, so we know who we talking. When we talking these American Indians, these Guale Indians. Let's pull up that Dutch view of the Yamassee War. Let's pull it up. Let's put it up on Google. And we talking the Yamassee, the Guale. There you go, right there, right. The Dutch view of the Yamassee War. We see the Yamassee Indian. We see his bow behind. We see his feather headdress, right? Salute. We know what we talking about. We talking about the ancient negroes along the Mississippi River. Yeah, the Yamassee, right? Don't get it twisted. We ain't talking about no $5 fakers. We ain't talking about no red man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Kurt Pruitt. He say Shalom, brother. He say Shalom to the comrades. Hey, we gonna teach tonight. We talking the Aboriginal, we talking the Negro, right? The so-called Negro, the so-called black, right? When we talking the Yamassee or the Guale Indian, right? So let's throw down some more. They gonna talk the languages, or what, Hebrew, you know? Scholars have not reached a consensus. Yeah, they ain't reached no consensus on how to classify the Guale language. Early claims that the Guale spoke of Muskogee. Oh, we know what the Muskogee was like, right? We know who the Muskogee, right? Like, for reference, let's go ahead and pull up the Muskogee one time. Let's pull up chief of the Muskogee Indians. Let's pull up Chief Silas Jefferson, right? Muskogee Indian. So we know we talk about Muskogee Indians. We know what we talking about. Oh, we're still talking the Negro, Silas Jefferson, Muskogee Chief. Just like Caesar Bruner, right? Just so we get a good reference when we talking these Indians and we talking Nagas. Yeah. Born in Alabama, yeah, right along the Mississippi, right? The Muskogee Creek, right? Muskogee Creek. So we know the Muskogee, the Naga. And we know we talking Yamassee, we talking Naga, right? So we talking Guale, right? So yeah, it says Muskogean language, of course. What? We know. Let's throw down some more historical references. We just saw some historical references. Note that the Jesuit brothers Domingo Austin Valles recorded Guale grammar in 1569, but the documents have not been found. Or they burned them, huh? Or they hid them in the library somewhere in the Smithsonian. The Guale are believed to have been a Mississippian culture group that had a chiefdom along what is now the Georgia coast in the early periods of Spanish exploration. So we see how the Yamassee transformed from the Guale in Georgia along the Mississippi River, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, all the way up. We see where the Guale comes from, right? Prehistory. Archaeological studies indicate that the precursors of the historically known Guale lived along the Georgia coast and Sea Islands from at least 1150. Archaeologists identify the prehistoric Guale cultures as the Savannah phase, 1150 to 1300, and the Irene phase, 1300 to 1600. While the prehistoric ancestors to the Guale share many characteristics with regional neighbors. Yeah, they was all Nagas. Yeah, they share characteristics with the other tribes, the Nagas. They left unique archaeological features that distinguish the proto-Guale people from the other groups. All right, the Guale distinguished themselves. Okay, the prehistoric peoples were organized into chiefdoms. They built Mississippian-type platform mounds, major earthworks requiring the organized labor of many people and using highly skilled soil and engineering knowledge. They used the mounds for ceremonial, religious, and burial purposes. I mean, pyramids, calling them mounds. You try to hide the fact that they was pyramids. You want to call them mounds. You know, you want to try to hide the fact that Tamari is the Tamaricans. You can't hide all this. It's just too much. And you want to show this fake. You know, that don't look like a Guale to me. You know, we just saw what the Guale looked like. It looked like this. Anywho, hijacker. When the Spanish later established itself, hold on, I skipped some. European contact. French explorers, oh, we know what the French did. We know who the French was enslaving, the native Naga. Salute. We know about the French. We know all about the Louisiana Purchase and all the Nagas they were slaving and flooding the slave market with. Now the African in sight. French explorers under John Ribault contacted the Guale, whom they called the Wade, after their chief. So their chief was named Guale or Wade. During their voyage to the Atlantic coast of North America in 1562. The Guale maintained good relations with the ephemeral French settlement known as Charles Fort on Paris Island in what is now South Carolina. Paris Island, South Carolina, right? When the Spanish later established themselves in St. Augustine in Spanish Florida, they also contacted the Guale, all over from Paris Island, South Carolina, all the way down to Spanish Florida and St. Augustine, right? They also contacted the Guale. They soon tried to bring them into their missions. They said, come on in here and learn about Zeus. Learn about Jesus. Learn about Zeus, right? The Guale territory became one of the 4 primary mission provinces of Spanish Florida. Come on in here and learn about Zeus. And then we're going to let them sweep in here and slave you, right? We just read about that. The Temuco, yeah, we know all about the Temuco, right? The Macama, and Appalachian provinces, also named after the resident tribes of their territories, were the others. The boundaries of the Spanish Guale province corresponded to the people's territory along the Atlantic coast of Sea Islands, north of the Altamaha River and south of the Savannah River. It included, it included Osaba, St. Catherine's, Sapelo. Oh, Sapelo. We're going to talk about Sapelo. We're talking about Sapelo tonight. Y'all remember that? Sapelo. Yeah. We're going to talk about Sapelo Island. It all relates to this. That's why they're speaking on it. And Wassaw Islands, among others. By the mid-17th century, the Spanish had established 6 Catholic missions in Guale territory, including the Nuestra Senora de Guadalupe de Tolamato and Santa Catalina de Guale. The largest settlements were probably on St. Catherine's Island. So, they say, we're going to indoctrinate all these Nagas, turn these Nagas into Christians. We're going to learn them about Zeus. And then we're going to enslave them in a perpetual slavery. Doomed diversities, right? Guale was the least stable of the 4 major mission provinces. The first Guale rebellion on label Juanilo's revolt began on October 4, 1597. The Guale rebellion again 1645, nearly shaking off the missions. They kept up a clandestine trade with French privateers, right? Privateers was pirates, which provided them with alternate sources of goods. All right. So we see a little background. Oh, look at the fake Yamassee. Oh, you big dummy. All right, let's move on. Chucalissa. Let's talk about Chucalissa. Now, before we go to Chucalissa, let's talk about Chucalissa. Let's go ahead and get into Chucalissa right now, because we were just talking about the Guale. We were talking about the Guale or the Yamassee, right? Let's see what the Chucalissa got to do with it. All right. And this is from the C.H. Nash Museum at Chucalissa. It's located on and exhibits excavated materials of the Mississippian culture, right? We just talked about it. Archaeological site known as Chucalissa, which means abandoned house in Chickasaw. The site is located adjacent to the T.O. Fuller State Park within the city of Memphis. Yeah, Memphis, Tennessee, United States. Chucalissa was designated National Historic Landmark in 1994 due to its importance as one of the best preserved and major prehistoric settlement sites in the region. The major prehistoric settlements, the best preserved, right? Chucalissa, right? Chucalissa is a walls phase mound and plaza complex that was occupied, abandoned, and reoccupied several times throughout its history, spanning from 1000 to 1550. It is located on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi River. Other contemporaneous groups in the area included the Parkin phase, Menard phase, and the Nadina phase. It is known to the well-preserved architectural flora, fauna, and human archaeological remains excavated there. During the early 1540s, the Hernando de Soto expedition passed through the area, stopping at many villages along the way. It is thought that the Walls phase may be the province of Quiz, encountered by De Soto on the banks of the Mississippi River. There is no evidence that Chucalissa itself was visited by the expedition, as it is thought to have been abandoned at the time. Right? Okay, we're talking Chucalissa, old prehistoric Indian village, the Mississippian culture, Chucalissa. We just laying foundation, y'all. And this is what the Chucalissa village looked like. These are some pictures of Chucalissa village, right? Chucalissa, yeah, you see the Indian huts, Native American huts. That's pretty well preserved, right? Look at this one. It even got some art on the side. I don't know if that's actual art from the natives or if that's something new. But check it out, okay? It's not a tent. It got a straw roof, pretty well preserved, like they said, right? Let's scroll down and look at the Chucalissa Indian mounds along the Mississippi River. What they got to do with the Guale? Let's see some more pictures. I don't want to read this one. I don't want to read all the hijinks. I want to look at the pictures on this one. See if they got a good picture. This look at that. Look at the inside. All right, they got the fake Native American $5 fake. We see the straw. We see that. All right, okay. We see what the Indian huts really looking like, right? At least in Chucalissa, we seeing what they look like. It ain't a tent. All right, well, that's it. They ain't got a better picture. I thought I saw a better picture. There you go. Yeah, it's shaped like almost like a modern house, right? All right, we just laying some foundation to Chucalissa, right? Mississippian, right? All right, let's talk about the Gullahs now. Or did I skip? Hold on, I might have skipped something. No, I ain't skipped. Let's talk about the Gullahs now. The Gullah, right? The Gullah, so-called African American, right? So-called African American ethnic group who predominantly live in the low country region of the United States. Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Oh, that's the same place the Guale was at. Georgia, Florida. They said from South Carolina all the way down to St. Augustine, right? That's where the Guale was at, right? They call them Gullah now. Okay, we know who we talking about though. At least we see a Naga right there. We know we talking about the same people. All right, let's dig. Gullah. This article is about the Gullah people, the Guale, and their culture and diaspora. You mean the American diaspora? For other uses, see the Gullah. The Geechie redirects here for other uses as Geechie, so-called African American. Okay, let's see. We talking about Guale Indians, right? The Yamassee, right? Yeah, so-called African American. All right. The Guale are an African American ethnic group who predominantly live in the low country region of the United States of Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina, within the coastal plain and the Sea Islands. Oh, and the Sea Islands, huh? The Sea Islands. We just read, who else was all in Florida, Georgia, down to the Sea Islands? We just read that about the Guale, right? We just read that about the Guale, right? Present day Georgia and all the way to the Sea Islands. Oh, they trying to fool you. They trying to slide one on you. But we ain't going for it. We ain't stupid. We ain't no big dummies over here. We know exactly what's going on, you fake hijacker, $5 fake motherfuckers. Let's slide. Alright. Their language, alright, South Carolina, down to the Sea Islands. Yeah, the Guale, right? Talking Gullah now. They're called African Americans now, and they native Nagas, Aborigines. Their language and culture have preserved a significant influence in Africanism. Dodge that fake ass hijack. Ain't no Africanism and Aboriginal Americanism and Black Americana, right? We just read about the Gullah, about the Guale. As a result of their historical geographic isolation and the community's relation to their shared history and identity. Historically, the Guale region extended from the Cape Fear area of North Carolina's coast south to the vicinity of Jacksonville, Florida coast. Salute to my Jacksonville Nagas, my hometown, right? Salute to all my Guale my local Guale Nagas right here, right? The Guale people and their language are also called Geechie, right? Which may be the Geechie, or what you mean, Muskogee, Geechie, Muskogee. Their language was Muskogee Creek, Muskogee, right? Muskogee, Geechie, Muskogee. Yeah, See what y'all doing here. Which may be derived from the name of the Geechie River near Savannah. So how is described from it's from the name of the Geechie River, right? Geechie from the Geechie River, an American river, right? Not nothing African at all. Gullah is a term that was originally used to designate the Creole dialect. And see, all this is hijack Creole dialect. We know what the Guale, we know what the Guale is. You see how they want to hijack your past? They want to hide the Naga past. It's right in your face. It's right in your face, my Naga. It just take a little bit of reading to a little 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4, not 22. You can't fool us. And we ain't going for no third eye mind tricks. We just read all about the Guale. Talking about from Creole. It's Muskogee, not Creole, it's Muskogee. Dialect of English spoken by Gullah and Geechie people. Over time, see, all this is lies. I don't even want to read the lies. Well, let's read the lies. Over time, its speakers have used this term to formally refer to their Creole language. You mean to their Muskogee language and distinctive ethnic identity as a people. The Georgia communities are distinguished by identifying as either freshwater Geechie or Muskogee or saltwater Muskogee Geechie or Muskogee, depending on whether they live on the mainland or the Sea Islands, right? The Guale on the Sea Islands. Yeah, the Guale, right? All the way to the Sea Islands. Sea Islands. Talking about you, Managa. Talking about you the whole time, Managa. Trying to fool you. Okay, anyway, because of a period of relative isolation from whites while working on large plantations in rural areas, the Africans isolated from the whites. Come on, man, what you think we done? Enslaved from a variety of Central and West Africa. No, we know who y'all was enslaving. He was enslaving the native Nagas. We read all about the French, the Louisiana Purchase. We just read about all that. We read about the Spanish enslaving the native Nagas. We read about Britain enslaving the native Nagas. Don't get out here with this hijack. No more of that. No more of that. Wikipedia, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. We see the real Gullah history right here. You want to give us this African hijack. You want to give us this roots Toby hijack, right? Can't fool us though. The Guale, the Geechie cultural heritage. North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia. We just read it. Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Memphis. All the way throughout Monaga. We just read it. The Gullah Geechie Cultural Heritage Corridor extends from Wilmington, North Carolina to North Jacksonville, Florida. No, all the way to South to St. Augustine, man. It's Gullah. Look at these American niggas. Look at these Nagas. Look at these Indians, American Indians, these Nagas, these blacks, these negroes. Right? Well, let's see here. We just read that hijack a minute ago, but let's see here what's highlighted. It has also been suggested that the Gullah Geechie name may have Native American roots. We know it got Native American roots. It ain't no may have. We know it factually has Native American roots. When the Spanish arrived to the South Carolina and Georgia region, they decided to call it Guale, right? They ain't called it Guale. After a Native American tribe they encountered, after they prince, after they chief Guale, they ain't name it. The locals named it. Guale became one of 4 primary Spanish mission provinces, along with Temuco, Mocama, and Appalachia. They say all these Temuco, Mocama, Appalachian niggas, Nagas, and these Guale Nagas, we gotta put them in slavery, in perpetual servitude, doing diverses, and telling they from Africa. Right? And let's connect some more dots here, y'all. Let's look at these this chocolate plantation. Chocolate plantation. What they talking about? A chocolate plantation here, right? One of the on the northern end of the Sapelo Island, right? Oh, we read about that earlier. Remember that Sapelo Island? When the Guale was talking about Sapelo, we read that on the Guale. Let's find it right here real quick before we go back to that. Let's talk about Sapelo Island right here on this Guale. Yeah, the Macama, Appalachia, Sapelo, right? Sapelo. All right, let's get back to it. We know the Guale and Sapelo, right? So let's look at this. The Chocolate Island. On the northern end of Sapelo Island reside the Tabby ruins, a chocolate plantation. The Tabby ruins include the main house, slave cabins. Who they were slaving? The Chucalissa. Who they were slaving? The Guale. Who they were slaving? The American Indian. Who they were slaving? The Naga, the Negro. And what may have been a storehouse in the 1920s, Howard Coffin covered the barn with revival tabby made of Portland cement, which is falling off, so that the original tabby can now be seen underneath. Oh, they covered up the original tabby. They covered up the Indian tabby. History. According to the marker at the site, the French royalists. Oh, we know who the French was enslaving. The French royalists who owned the land from 1789 to 1795 named it Chocolate after the Guale Native American village on Sapelo called Chocolate. Salute. We just connected the dots here about the Nagas in America. Yeah, the Chocolate Nagas, the Negroes on Sapelo, the Guale natives, the Yamassee now, right? The Gullah. They want to call you African though. The French sold it to Edward Swarberg, who constructed the Tabby slave cabins. He ain't constructed them slave cabins. Indian concrete, and the Tabby main house in 1819. Charles Roger, owner of the plantation in the 1830s, built the Tabby barn. You know, they claim these slave houses. No. Chocolate slave plantation. They say they named it. After the Chocolate Indians village. It is the Chucalissa Indian village. Dodge the hijacker, these bold liars. It is the Chucalissa village. It ain't named after it. It is the Chucalissa village, right? We just read about the Chucalissa abandoned house in Chickasaw. He talking about he built it. He talking about he built these so-called slave cabins, right? And we looked at the pictures of them. We looked what they look like. With their straw tops, Indian tabby concrete, right? I'm connecting some dots for y'all for a specific reason here. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to this. What was that here? Chocolate. So now they saying this Indian village, they calling it a slave plantation now. On Sapelo Islands. We know the Guale was there. We know the French was enslaving Indians, right? And when they enslaved the village, claimed it for themselves, doing their verses. They say your principalities become theirs, your dukedoms become theirs, your village is now their plantation, your farms are now theirs. We're talking real history here. Yeah. The main house burned in 1853 during the residency of Randolph Spalding. J. Reynolds purchased the island in 1934, and his widow sold it to the state of Georgia, which now manages it. All right, yeah. They're telling you the Chocolate. No, that's Chucalissa. They're telling you they named it after the Chucalissa. That is the Chucalissa village. We saw what the houses look like, right? We saw what the houses look like. Now, I brought all that up too when we looked at these houses that's at this Chucalissa, what they call it Chocolate plantation, which is really the Chucalissa village. And you see these Indian houses made out of Indian tabby, Chucalissa Indian village, right? Indian village. Now check this out, man. Here I got a picture of some Guale, or Guale, or Gullah, or Geechie Indian. Salute. Oh, they're standing in front of their home. And what do we see here? We see this same kind of roof system. Salute. Don't be no big dummy. Look at what you see here. We see these Nagas. Salute to the ancestors. standing in front of their hut with the straw roof, right? And it's looking just like the Chucalissa village, right? And they want to tell you it's a Chocolate slave plantation. These folks lying about your history so much, Managa. You got to see through all the lies, Managa. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel. We connect dots over here with real history, Managa. We won't play no games. We won't go for no third eye mind tricks. We just talking about the real Gullah or the real Guale. American Indians, not Africans. Not African slaves, possibly Indian slaves. If slaves at all. Hey man, Managa, this the house of masculinity, Managa. Respect my house. I'm gonna let the doorknob hit your ass with the most high split your ass. We out this bitch. Salute to the Guale. No, wait a minute. Before we out, I gotta make something else. I gotta make another connection to this. Cause they told you that the Gullah or the Guale was all the way from North Carolina down to Florida. I live in North Florida, and right here in near my hometown, right in my backyard, on Amelia Island, they got the Kingsley Plantation, and they give you the same story about the Kingsley Plantation. I visited the Kingsley Plantation myself twice, and I videoed some stuff there, which I'm gonna upload. I got it on another camera of mine. I need to upload it and edit it, but I'm gonna show y'all something about this Kingsley Plantation that relates to this whole thing about the Gullah, because we know the Gullah or the Guale, we know they was all the way from North Carolina down to Florida and through Georgia. All right, so we're gonna look at the Timucuan Ecological Reserve, the Timucua, right? The Timucua Indians, right? And that's where the Kingsley Plantation is located, right? Over in the Timucua Indian Territory. You know, Chief Saturawea. All right, so let's look at the Timucuan Ecological Historic. That's locally right here to where I live. You know, these Guale, Gullah Indians, right? Kingsley Plantation. During the 18th and 19th centuries, many people came to Florida. Some, like Zephaniah Kingsley, sought to make their fortunes by obtaining land and establishing plantations. All right, so I'm gonna do a whole live on Zephaniah and Kingsley Plantation and his wife, right, who owned the Kingsley Plantation. I'm gonna do a whole separate story on this, but I'm gonna just relate it to the Guale and to the Chucalissa village. You know, all right. The history of the Kingsley Plantation and all, right? It say Zephaniah Kingsley sought to make their fortunes by obtaining land and establishing plantations. Others were forced to come to Florida to work on those plantations. Their labor providing wealth to the people who owned them. Some of the enslaved who later became free landowners. Look at that. Enslaved who later became free landowners. They were already free landowners. You claimed they duped them. You put them in doomed diverses. You stole their crops. We know what you did. By the village, right? Struggling to keep their loot in a dangerous time of shifting alliances and politics. All of these people played a part in the history of Kingsley Plantation. All right, so let me stroll down. Let's see, I visited Kingsley Plantation twice. I got videos and stuff in there. All right. Oh, they ain't even this article. Let me go back. So they tell you a little bit about it. Let me go to another article that might give you some pictures of what's there. I should have uploaded. Let's go to Wikipedia real quick. I should have uploaded my footage, but you know, I just put this together at kind of the last minute. It was just something that was on my mind. But I'm gonna go to some of the pictures from the Kingsley Plantation, which they say it was a slave plantation, right? We know they weren't Africans, most likely Timucua Indians, right? All right, so here goes some of the so-called slave homes. They was made out of Indian tabby, Indian cement, oyster shells, you know. And one thing I noticed about them when I went, they had not only a front door and with a back door, and they circled the perimeter with no fence. So why would slaves be at the edge of the perimeter with no fence, with front doors, back doors, fireplaces inside, windows made out of Indian cement, right? Indian tabby with straw. They had straw roofs on them, just like the huts we saw. So I always looked at them. I said these is not slave cabins because it didn't make sense. Why would slaves live at the edge of the land of the perimeter with no fence, with back doors? When did the jail cell have a back door? Salute. All right, so we dodge all third eye mind tricks. So here's some pictures, and you see the Nagas. This is actually a Timucua Indian village. This is not a slave plantation. These people lying about our history so bad. They show you how the houses are lined to the edge of the perimeter. The main house is like 2 football fields away. And the colonizers probably pulled up and they tell you they lived among the Indians. They'll build a little house right amongst our people, even get our people to help them. And they'll live amongst us. Then they'll claim the village as theirs. And claim you as their labor and your farms. The main house, right? You can see it's a more modern deal, right? You can see these is way more modern than those cabins, those so-called slave cabins, which I believe is really the prehistoric Timucua Indian village. They got mounds that are around. Let me pull out some more, see if we get some more details on this real quick. The Kingsley Plantation. Let me go back. Let's click on pics and let's see if we get some more pics, just to give you some more reference of what this place looked like today. And I'm gonna go back out there. I'm gonna get some more footage. I'm gonna take my drone out there and get some more footage. And here's a good pic. So they had straw from the pit. They got signs posted that's showing you how they originally was. They had straw roofs like we saw on those Indian huts. Like I said, I've been there. I walked inside almost all of them just to see if I could find any writing. You see some modern graffiti. People don't went and vandalize stuff. But yeah, you see it's made out of Indian tabby. It's made out of Indian tabby. Some of them were still in pretty good condition, like this main one here, and a few of them down on the end. If you got local stuff like this locally to where you live, I recommend checking it out because you never know what you will find, and it's all about your past. It's always the Naga. It's always the Negro. It's always the Negro. Look at that. When tourists think of visiting early American attractions, few might consider Florida, but the state has its share, and some are unlike anything else. Yeah, we know the Naga, the Guale, the Geechie, right? So they're showing you, talking about the slave quarters at the Kingsley Plantation in Jacksonville were built from a tabby, a concrete made from oyster shells. A tabby, that's Indian tabby. What do Africans know about Indian tabby, right? Indian tabby. We just saw that this is made of Indian tabby. Reasons you should visit Chucalissa, Indian village. Indian tabby. Not African. Indian tabby. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm out this bitch though, man. This blackjack. We're gonna talk heavy on the Kingsley Plantation. I got the drop on that too. We're gonna get in on that, man. I'm gonna point some stuff out. We're gonna connect some dots, man. I'm gonna get back at y'all later on this week, probably tomorrow. Hey, I'm Blackjack, this house of masculinity. Respect my house. So we'll let the door not hit your ass. With the most high split your ass. We out. Peace.